He often describes himself as a simple Buddhist monk, even though he is the spiritual leader of millions of people and a Nobel Peace Prize laureate. Compassion for all living creatures is central to Buddhism. Therefore, nonviolence is an important principle. But for the Dalai Lama, nonviolence is also a realistic choice. Real change doesn't come through violence, but through dialogue, negotiation, and compromise. In 1989, the Dalai Lama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his non-violent efforts to preserve the historical and cultural heritage of his people.
It raises the question of social welfare, education, cultural and spiritual identity and integrity as vital for the survival of an ethnic minority.
Tibetans live in many countries around the globe, while the Dalai Lama himself lives in India. So how to protect the Tibetan identity in this situation? The Dalai Lama's response? Designing a political system suited to preserve the Tibetan culture and ensure its peaceful coexistence with others. Starting in 1963, the Dalai Lama issued a constitution for Tibet, containing reforms to democratize the government. It grants freedom of speech, religion, assembly, and movement. Tibetans living in more than 30 countries can elect the members of their assembly. In 2011, the Dalai Lama gave up his role as Tibet's political leader, insisting that the Tibetans needed a freely elected leader. In doing so, he put an end to the 368-year-old tradition of the Dalai Lama's functioning as both the spiritual and political head of Tibet. This move gives Tibetans the possibility to determine their future. The Dalai Lama has provided Tibetans with institutions and tools to protect their culture. He has shown that a democratic society is more complex than free elections and free speech. It's also about thriving in a safe environment. By being an inspiration to millions of people around the world, he demonstrates that the importance of hope should never be underestimated. Culture comes in many forms. It can be challenging to be heard when you're fewer in numbers. The Dalai Lama reminds us that diversity enriches our world and that it is up to each of us to support others and give them the space they need to flourish.